Okay, here we go. We're back for another episode of Betrayal in Blue, Cops Who Crossed the Line. This is number 5. Right out of the gate this past week, we had a narcotics sting here in Florida, and it caught a Alabama lieutenant. His name was Isaac Lopez. He was arrested attempting to buy from this sting. Apparently someone must have been caught within his network, and they tipped off the narcotics cops who set up a sting. He came from Alabama, lieutenant, and he came down here to Florida, and he attempted to purchase a trafficking amount of methamphetamine. It didn't state how much in the news clip that I saw. He was arrested, and he has a $105,000 bail, and they are further investigating that. There is nothing more to the story than that I saw in the clip, and I did some research online. That was a couple of articles that just basically repeated the same thing. So he's a lieutenant from Alabama, and he came down to Florida to purchase a large amount of meth, and he got caught in a sting. So that's probably end of his career and probably some jail time down the line. See how that turns out. Also, Alabama. While I was researching Alabama, this popped up, and this was from 2018, though. It was a patrol cop. Went to a store and made a shoplifting arrest. It's a simple arrest. It was a female, cuffs a female, puts her in the back of the patrol car. And it's only 5 minutes back to the precinct from where the arrest was made. It took them 40 minutes to get back to the precinct. After they're back there, the woman makes an allegation that while in handcuffs, she was raped by this officer. The officer's name was Eldrick Kennedy. They brought him in and started speaking to him. They checked the times when he was at the store and when he made the arrest, when he had someone in the car. So you have to document all that over the radio. And they confirmed it took more than the required amount of time, which was only 5 minutes to get back to the precinct. It took 40 minutes. So they spoke to him further, and he admitted to having sex with her. But his claim is it was consensual. Now, even if she wasn't handcuffed, it can't be consensual because he's got her in custody. So he was immediately fired and arrested. This is back in 2018. And I looked, I couldn't find any disposition on this. I don't know if it's still an ongoing criminal complaint, but he was, after he was arrested, he went out on $60,000 bail. And that's all I could find on it. I did a lot of searching, and I couldn't find no follow-up to anything. So, but again, I came across that because I was researching the lieutenant who got caught in the meth sting in Alabama, and then Alabama cop came up. So that's how I found it. I've had a couple of people write me. They wanted me to speak about the Mafia cops. Everyone knows the Mafia cops from New York. It's a very well-known story. I don't mentioned this a couple of times on my social media. I am writing a second book with my partner from the first book, Frank Giordot, however he pronounces his last name there. It's going to be a book on police corruption. It's a compilation of a whole bunch of stories. And we're making our way through that. And there is going to be, I wouldn't say a full chapter, but a good couple of paragraphs about the Mafia cops. Only because, you have to mention the Mafia cops if you're doing a book on police corruption. And I don't want to over talk about it in the book nor here because everybody really has known about it. Mafia cops were Lou Eppolito and Stephen Caracappa. And back in the 80s, they worked for the Mafia. They were on the Mafia payroll. They were paid $4,000 a month. And I believe that came from Gas Pipe Casso. And they also did a number of hits for the Mafia. And those hits started out at small increments and worked their way up to larger increments as they did additional hits. They both retired from the NYPD. They were detectives, and they apparently were almost got away with it. They both moved to Las Vegas, across the street from each other. And I'm not going to go into great detail because I could talk for hours about it. And again, most people know about it, but I did get a few questions about it. They moved to Vegas, moved across the street from each other, and Eppolito wrote a book about his life as a New York police detective and coming from a mafia family. The book was called Mafia Cop. And one of the victims, his mother recognized him while he was doing a book tour on TV. I think it was on Sally Jesse Raphael. And she went to the precinct, made a complaint, and opened up a whole investigation into it. And they, Gaspar Casso started, after he was arrested, he became a cooperating witness, and he was talking about them, but they needed a lot of collaboration. Yeah, I said that good. And I'm not editing nothing out of this, so you guys can make fun of me for that. Corroborating, that's it. Corroborating evidence they needed. So they ended up getting that evidence, and the New York detectives that were investigating him had Vegas cops checking out the residences of Eppolito and Caracappa. And in Eppolito's driveway he was still doing dirty business. Apparently he was selling weapons, and there was a known drug dealer's car in his driveway when they ran a plate. So that started a whole investigation down there. They were invested in Vegas, came back to New York, and eventually they went to trial, and they lost. They were put in prison, and they both ended up dying in prison. So that's the Mafia Cops. And again, it would be a lot deeper into that about each hit they made and all the different things that went on. So not going to get that deep into that. The other thing was, got a lot of questions about Adam Diaz from the 7-5 documentary. He was the kingpin, I guess you could say, for the second organization my partner and I worked with. So I figure I'll talk a little bit about that. My partner and I was working for an organization the Dominican drug organization that essentially shorted us money the first time. So we didn't want to work with them anymore. And our contact, Baron Perez, found a new guy for us. This new guy was Adam Diaz. And first time I met Adam, we were at Auto Sound City, the original Auto Sound City, which was on Van Sicklen and Atlantic Avenue. It was a small one-story building, office up front, like very small showroom. Then he had a little office in the back, and then there was three garages, single-car garages that he had attached to it where he did all the work. So Diaz comes in. My partner and I come in. And this is, to be honest, I don't remember. I don't think we were in uniform. I think it was after work, and we were in plain clothes. So Perez makes a quick introduction, and we go in the back with enclosed office, Perez's office, with Diaz, my partner, and I. And to me, Diaz was he didn't seem like the typical movie character drug dealer. To me, he seemed like a businessman. He was very matter of fact and very respectful. He didn't talk beyond what he wanted to present. Let's put it like that. So my partner laid it on the line, what we wanted, and Diaz was very receptive to that. And we shook hands and we had a deal. And very quickly, money came our way. It was, like everyone knows, it was that watched the documentary and read my book, Betrayal in Blue. It was $24,000 up front just to take that meeting. And that money came to us, I believe it was the next day. And then $8,000 a week after that for us to help Diaz with his drug dealing organization, which was a multi-million-dollar organization. So eventually things go south. And my partner leaves a precinct. He was warned of an upcoming drug test he was going to be given, and he signed himself into the farm. The farm is basically a alcohol rehab program. You can't go to a drug rehab because drugs were a criminal act. So he goes to the alcohol rehab program. That way it squashes the test, claimed he was an alcoholic. And things had slowed down because Diaz, as everyone knows, was robbed of some $700,000 by Franklin and Coke. So it slowed things down for his business. And the last time, I was obviously a lot in between all this, the last time I had physically saw Diaz was, like I said, my partner was gone. I was working with a rookie. And at this time, we helped him move his organization prior to my partner leaving to another spot that was mostly, I wouldn't say controlled by Baron Perez, but it was within his realm. It was on Crescent and Atlantic. It was the building right behind Auto Sound City. So I'm cruising northbound on a Crescent coming towards Atlantic. And on the left-hand side is the buildings. The corner is Auto Sound City, and the building right behind that is Diaz's new spot. So it happens this day. Diaz is standing right out front of the spot. And as the NYPD patrol car is approaching, I notice him right away. And I'm sure he noticed the patrol car, but I see on his face a little nervousness, let's put it, because he didn't know it was me. So he just saw the patrol car. As I get closer, he recognizes me. And a big smile comes across his face. I pulled over to the side, and I wave him over to the car. He comes over to the car. I go, like I would to any business owner. I said, how's business doing? And right now, the rookie's next to me. He's doing whatever. I don't know. He was reading a newspaper, listening to radio. He was oblivious to what was going on. And I go, how's business? And and obviously I'm referring to the robbery of the $700,000. And he goes, oh, things are picking up. Things are getting good again. A lot of good business. Things are moving. So, okay, that's good. And at this time, he had said to me, he goes, I hear good things about you. And I don't know how he heard this. Obviously, he had, I guess, some other contacts somewhere. He goes, I hear you're going to go to plain clothes. And at that time, I was supposed to be moving to anti-crime. And I looked at him like, yeah, how do you know that? That's supposed to be what's happening with me. And he goes, I have my ways. I go, he goes, that should be good. That should be good. I go, yeah, that'll be helpful to the neighborhood. And I go, okay, I'll check up on you, make sure things are going good while we're on patrol. He goes, okay, see you. And like I said, the rookie next to me was totally oblivious. He had no idea years later that Diaz would be described as a gangster right out of Central Casting for the documentary, because he's that much of a typical gangster in the documentary, the way he spoke and the way he presented himself, as opposed to when I first met him, as he looked to me like a very much a businessman. So that was the last time I had seen Diaz. And years later, the documentary came out, and obviously we have talked back and forth since then, and are on good terms. Like I mentioned earlier, he sent me 2 boxes of cigars. He started a cigar business. He's living back in DR. He's doing well. So that's basically that. What else was good? The other thing was, is there any chance of my book becoming a movie? I would have to say, much to the dismay of my 2 co-authors, even though we have had multiple offers from people to buy the rights to the book, I am under contract, a movie contract. I sold my life rights previously to Sony, so I can't obviously sell it again, even though it's the book. The book is based on my life, so it's the same thing. Sony contract was signed right away back in 2015. It has since expired. It was renewed a couple of times. A new production company picked it up. So for those of you that are looking forward to the Hollywood feature, it is still on. It is being reworked, the script, because I can't use the script that they had from Sony, from what I'm aware of. And very good screenwriter. I'm not going to say his name. He's done a couple of major movies. And the director, I had put it out there previously on social media, is Ben Stiller. From what I know, he is still working on the movie, and hopefully it comes out soon. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, to everything involved with it. So that's what we have for this week. Any more questions, send them to my social media, and I'll be happy to answer them in the future. And hopefully I'll have some good news about the movie. Thanks very much for tuning in, and see you next week.